Hello everyone, this is the Familiar DAVENER number 42, and I'd like to speak today about a scenario that usually happens during the week, not on Shabbos, and that is you do not have a minyan until Chazarat HaShatz. And all of a sudden there are 10 people in the room. Can you do a Chazarat HaShatz? This goes back to a law in the laws of benching that everybody agrees with. In the laws of benching, we have a law that says as follows, that if 3 people ate together and they benched, and after they benched they said, oh golly, we forgot to do a zimun, you can't go back and do a zimun. So says the Radbaz, the same thing here. 10 people already davened. They didn't plan to daven in a minyan because there wasn't a minyan. The obligation of Chazarat HaShatz starts when you daven 10 people silently together. Since you didn't have that, there's no Chazarat HaShatz. That's the way it seems the Magen Avram, the Mishnah Berurah, and the Chasam Sofer paskin. However, the Shulchan Aruch disagrees. The Code of Jewish Law says that even if all 10 davened, one person can get up and do what we call a Heiche Kedusha. His reasoning, if I can explain it in my words, even though Rav Ovadia Yosef says it, is as follows. With regard to Zimun, they already benched. And Zimun is before benching. You can't go back. However, by definition, Chazarat HaShatz is after the silent Amidah. So even though everyone davened the silent Amidah, by definition they can do Chazarat HaShatz because the obligation starts only afterwards, as opposed to benching where Zimun is before the benching. That's scenario number 1. Scenario, I believe, number 1, I don't suggest to do a Chazarat HaShatz. I think we do paskin like the Radbaz against the Shulchan Aruch. Scenario number 2 is if 1 person out of the 9 or 5 people out of the 9 didn't daven at all. In that case, that particular person can get up and do a Heiche Kedusha at Mincha, and even a Shachar starting at Baruch Hu, and then saying everything silently, and then a Heiche Kedusha out loud. This will allow everyone to say the Kedusha on the one hand, but not prolong davening too much. The Radbaz would still disagree. And therefore, I don't necessarily suggest it in that scenario, especially if it's time-consuming. Namely, if people come in very late, and ultimately you're going to be waiting until they catch up to that point of Baruch Hu. But scenario number 3 is if 6 out of the 10 didn't daven at all, and 4 did daven the silent Amidah. In that situation, you can treat it like a regular minyan. Namely, a tefillah balachash, a silent Amidah, and a full Chazarat HaShatz. So to reiterate, if 10 people already davened, and then all of a sudden they came together as a minyan, you don't do Chazarat HaShatz. If 1 out of the 10, or 5 out of the 10, didn't daven, 1 can get up and do a Heiche Kedusha. But if 6 out of the 10 didn't daven, you can treat it like a regular minyan, tefillah belachash, namely the silent Amidah, and then Chazarat HaShatz, full swing.